Facebook to delete the post?
So I gave the landing page, and I'll collect however many people I have on that list and save them for later.
Exactly.
So, and I didn't feel any stress around it. I'm like, I've got a place for them to go. I've got them saved.
It's like the glue trap that you put under the couch for the mice. Like, if they show up, they're stuck. You've never seen them?
Okay, I've seen one. I've never had to put one out. Thank God. I have seen them at work. Anywhere where there's food, they're critters, unfortunately.
Where there are children, there is dropped food. True. And there are critters. And we had a mouse issue not too long ago, which, considering how few rodentary problems I've had in my life, I'm like, we've gotten off scot-free, we've gotten off easy, but my God.
That's a really good point. Yeah, it's probably part of having kids in the house, because I do remember my mom claiming there was a rat or a mouse. We never saw it, but they put out decon, and I never saw it. I guess they caught it out, or I guess they found it dead or whatever. We didn't have any pets, so we could have poison in the house, but interesting.
Well, if you want to talk about interesting, take a look at the link that I just pushed you. I'm going to push it in the private chat too, because I don't know if I'm thinking the people on the Facebook group can't see it.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I see.
Did you see this article? I don't normally read the Jerusalem Post, but this kind of came up in one of my Google searches.
Interesting.
Right? So this headline says, could the Bible's prohibition on eating bats have prevented the coronavirus in 2019? So I thought that would be a great way to kickstart this Tuesday conversation, Dalia.
I love the thought that people put into things like this. Well, I mean, a lot of those rules in the Hebrew scriptures were way ahead of their time.
Yes.
And even the fact that the Israelites were burying their excrement when that was not a thing in other cultures at the time, and people thought they were being crazy, burying their poop, and they were shielding themselves from disease. But I don't know. Maybe if you only use the Hebrew scriptures, or you only use the Talmud, is that the first 5? Or no, that's not it. Anyway, if you only use the first 5, I guess that's the Pentateuch.
I love that you're Southern and you don't know.
Maybe this resonates with you, but if you are like a regular schmegular Christian, or kind of Christian, or people used to call you Christian, then you think all those old rules are thrown out. There you go. Thank you, Sarah. So I wouldn't have even thought that there was any potential dietary restrictions that Judeo-Christian people think could have saved them from coronavirus. Who knows?
Well, it's amazing. Like, who knew bats were banned? I mean, I guess the way the rules are written, that would categorically eliminate bat. But I never thought about
stuff that was banned. I only know like a handful of people who are legit about following all those restrictions. But that's where I live. And I'm sure it protects you from a ton of stuff. Even the care that goes into making sure something is legit kosher. I'm sure just the intention that goes into it really prevents a lot of foodborne illness. But yeah.
I just had never just seeing that headline was the giggle that I needed 2 days ago so badly, and I couldn't wait to share it with you.
Well, I thought they decided that that's not how this started.
Well, but if the movie's already being made with Gwyneth Paltrow and Matt Damon, Dalia.
Well, yeah, that's true. And how did the outbreak start? An outbreak, the one before,
it was a bat.
Again, in both movies.
Well, with Contagion, it was a Okay. In Outbreak, that was Ebola.
Okay. I completely forgot that.
That was monkeys too, but I mean, it was monkeys.
It was another. Okay. But like a monkey that was exposed to humans because of globalization. Yep. Okay. Got it.
Monkey.
See, I love that other people remember this. Have y'all seen this stuff recently? How do you remember that? That was so long ago. That's an old movie.
But all of us are watching it right now. 28 days later, Contagion.
God, I love 28 days later, though.
28 days later. I mean, that's how I feel like that's where we're at right now, right? It's all 28 days later.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, don't even remind me. Well, at least we haven't seen people going 100% Mad Max. Like, they haven't started dressing funny or committing a lot of sex crimes. Like that's always part of those movies. Let's hope it doesn't come down to that. People can act sane for a few minutes. I wanted to share what I have been eating since we talked last. I didn't get enough.
Put us on topic. Yes.
Cool photos. Well, I'm not even going to say cool photos. I have ugly pictures because in real life, food typically isn't gram worthy. So the stuff it was not gram worthy. But I've been doing a mixture of a lot of eating out. And one day I felt like I really needed cereal for dinner. So that's what I had.
Can I just tell you how proud I am that I finally figured out how to do that? So that it's...
How did you do that? Is it a button?
And not my face, because it's like the host that's had to go there. Yeah, it's a setting I had off in the back.
Oh, cool. Look at you figuring out all the things. I went ahead and got the premium version of StreamYard so I could play with some settings. So I'm paying close attention. And I had some pizza and I've had green smoothies. And that's pretty much it. Very low labor, like no labor, basically, from eating out and eating salads and sandwiches to cereal and green smoothies and pizza and green smoothies. And that's not green smoothies because I'm obsessed with balance. It's just they're good. And I have a lot of kale I have to finish. I've been really pushing it on the harvest cycle with my plants. And I started to get some, I guess they're fruit flies because they can.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm like, that's a sign. It's time to eat this stuff and clear the roots out and put my next round in. So I'm eating as much of that stuff as possible, like every day.
Is that pizza on the right?
Yes.
Well, you made that?
Oh, no. It was left over. That's breakfast.
Okay. I'm like, that looks...
No way. That was a leftover pizza because, like, in Georgia, we've decided to open non-essential places too. So even some places that are still not comfortable opening the dining room that didn't have curbside, like almost everybody's doing curbside right now. Mm-hmm. So...
yeah, us too. We've been eating out a lot. I mean, I like to think that I'm a hometown hero, but I just really don't like cooking. So, and I've been running a lot. This Pokemon Go thing has had me up and out, like more than I care to even admit. Like yesterday, I chased a Jinx, JY, and X. If you watch play Pokemon Go, you know what I'm talking about. They are very rare, at least to the Denver area, and I found one and I chased that for 7 miles. So I ended up
this is in addition to the 11-mile chase
that I'd done the other day. Yeah.
Wow.
Because we did the 11-mile chase. And then Sunday we found out that I had made someone told us about an app and we'd had to delete a whole bunch of our Pokemon because I'm like, I'm not buying you more space. No, you just pick and choose which ones you want to keep. So sorted by combat power, which turns out that is not the right metric. You have to actually appraise each single one. And when we figured this out, my son was like, you threw away all the good ones, Mom. I'm like, you don't know that.
So did you catch a valuable one today?
I caught a valuable one yesterday.
Okay.
Which kind of made up a little bit, but didn't like totally fix it. So hence the 13 miles, the things I do, you just got to make life tenable. Anyway, so I on Monday night, I looked at my husband after the run and I was like, I'm hungry. And he's like, yay, like, I'm so hungry that it's going to be fun for the whole family. And it really, truly was. I ate a whole pizza by myself from Blackbird.
That is a great expression. I've never heard that before. I've only heard hangry. I've never heard fungry.
Fungry. Yeah, I like it. One of the reasons I love saying is because people don't think I'm going where I go with it. Like,
has anyone else heard fungry before? I love all the feedback in the comments about what people are loving right now and what their go-to quarantine food is.
Yeah.
So much deliciousness and practicality. And even, probably, do you have it open? Like the people who are into cooking now that weren't really enjoying cooking before, it's like everybody's finding their own sweet spots, it seems like.
I went from the thread that you posted in the Facebook group. Yes, I would love seeing that. I like seeing that there are some people who are kind of like me and are less inspired to cook now than they were before, which is only like not I hate the cookers, but rather there is a bit of like maybe every once in a while when it feels like everyone is making sourdough bread. even I will have a moment where it's like, my kids deserve a mom like that, and I'm like, wait, they're fine. F it, celiac. So I ordered a bunch of
my mom cooked
from bakery.
My mom cooked every single day, and dinner was ready at 5:00 on the dot. Like, I remember a couple of times at like 5:05, my dad saying, "What's happening? What do you need? What do you need? Like, what's happening?" It was very very rude, but she did clap back. But he was just used to 5:00. He didn't want it at 5:02. And so I'm used to that structure with dinner, but she never liked to cook. And she is now basically completely stopped, and they eat a lot of sandwiches. And my dad's been cooking on the grill more, and she'll cook if she really wants something. And now that grandma stays with her, she does feed. I mean, she feeds her, but she assembles. So I'm used to, there's a starch, there's a meat, and there's 2 veggies. Fruit was snack, and some of that stuff came out of a can, some of it maybe came out of a box, a lot of repetitive proteins, inexpensive proteins growing up. And so even if you're a mom who cooks constantly, it doesn't mean your kids are eating any better than your kids are, because at least every time they eat something, the person who did it like really knew what they were doing. No disrespect to my mother's cooking, but she wasn't into it, and she really didn't, try and master it. She was just waiting for us to be ready to cook. So we had chores that involved cooking. There was a little sheet on the inside of the cabinet door by the kitchen sink, and every day of the week you were either washing the dishes, drying the dishes, or making dinner. And that rotation started around 6 years old. Like, wow. I remember even having a little step ladder for the stove, and having a panic attack when I started a little fire. I obviously wasn't paying attention when I was told like how to shut it off and where the extinguisher was. But after that, she's like, see, it didn't kill you. You'll be fine. She had just gone to another room. She didn't abandon me. But anyway, so I just feel like everyone has to eat because it's part of life. But not everybody's going to love cooking, and that's okay. There's so many people that do love it that we can eat with them, whether we're purchasing from them or whether those are our friends that we're visiting or whether that's our mom. We don't all have to do it.
Well, so I've been hearing more about the supply chain breaking down food-wise. How much of a realistic concern is that for us? And should we go into this with the idea of just like enjoy all the food while we can? Like, how are you guys looking at it?
We're thinking that we're going to be to a point where you can't get exactly what you want, but there will still be plenty of food available, but not everything that you want. So maybe more of an issue for restaurants that open up. What stinks is it's like everything's still there. So some things are just going to go to waste because the big users like restaurants and schools and hospitals, are closed.
Right.
And even here, I've seen farmers on the news talking about how they are trying to move their strawberries before they rot out there on the plant still, and they're selling more to consumers, whereas typically they're selling to larger businesses that right now are doing a fraction of the business that they usually do. And even for us, we're not purchasing, or at least we're trying not to purchase anything right now, whereas usually our food budget's enormous every month. Right now, because our participation is so far down. So instead of us feeding 18,000 kids a day, we feed about 3,000 kids a day. And we're not sure if that's going to go up in the summer or get even worse. Because some restrictions are being lifted, it'll probably get worse because people will be out of town, and the kids that usually would have been doing credit recovery are going to be at home or out of town doing credit recovery online, So we're not buying anything. And there are a lot of people that factored us into their budget for what they were going to bring in, what they were going to warehouse. So typically you have the farmer and maybe a manufacturer or a distributor that they're dealing with, and we're farther down in the chain. It seems like everybody's functional, but certain things are drying up. And it looks like if to get that food item, if people have to be in one big room breathing on each other to process it, that's what we're probably not going to have access to, because those places are going to have to close.
Even once the order from the War Act that was just pronounced a couple hours ago, saying that meat production facilities have to stay open.
Well, I wonder what they'll do, because, even in some places they're saying, even if you already have it,
okay,
if you're essential, go to work anyway. So I wonder if that's what they'll end up. They're not saying go to work anyway if it's time for you to be on a ventilator. But if you are able to go to work and you're already contaminated, not everyone is saying that means you absolutely have to stay home. Looks like a lot of things are shifting and changing.
A lot of it's up in the air. I guess, like, when do I need to start hoarding meat is kind of my question, because everything
Terry
I know about
did it today.
What?
Terry went and did it today.
I believe it. Everyone I know has started kind of doing it, like, because they've lifted. Here in Denver, we had restrictions. You could only buy one pack of beef at a time, one bottle of milk at a time. And that went on for a couple of weeks, and it lifted about 10 days ago. And we're afraid the hammer's going to come back down. So there's part of me that, like, wants to go fill the freezer. And another part of me that's like, realistically, what good is that going to do? I don't know. Because as we've seen in Tiger King.
Oh, there you go.
I'll bring it back to Tiger King. But once it comes out of cold storage, it cannot go back. So I imagine there's a whole lot of food that's going bad right now, because it can't be fed to tigers or school children.
Well, it's right. It can't be fed to anyone who's following food safety rules. But I will say I've noticed a lot of food safety rules have been going out of the window with smaller operations. And I don't know, you hate to throw away money. Food is one of those things. It's money on your shelf that can literally decay and just cease to exist. What other type of inventory is that way? So you just have to be careful and make sure you're only going to reputable places. And I wouldn't get like soup at the end of the week, because you don't know what. Just be aware that things only work as well as the people that are running them. So let's hope everyone is thinking about safety more than they're thinking about money. But I know everyone's getting nervous about money. So I don't know. When people are under stress, they make bad decisions.
So speaking of bad decisions, and I just want to be really, really clear for anyone who sees this later. If you leave food like in these beautiful photos out in the sun, the sunlight will not kill the coronavirus, correct?
Oh my goodness. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And why would you leave food out in the sun?
To bleach it.
Oh no. Is somebody doing that?
Well, I mean, there have been, there's been some chatter of things that we could do to kill corona, and one is with sunlight, and another is with bleach. So I wanted to
I've definitely heard the bleach one. Did you see my? Yeah.
It was that same conference. It was a discussion of how to inject sunlight to kill the virus.
Wow.
So yeah.
Maybe I blocked that out.
Possibly. I just wanted to be really clear.
Inject sunlight. That made me touch my face. You see? Yeah. Well, yeah, that's not a thing. And just remember that typically when something isn't refrigerated, after 4 hours, just assume that it's done. It might have been done before that, and especially all of the things
in it.
Absolutely. Everything that we used to do at church picnics is unacceptable.
Yes.
If you think back, it's like a miracle that we weren't sick all the time. And then
that's
again,
why we called it dinner on the ground.
Oh, I never heard that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Is that a Tennessee thing?
It might be. Let me see.
Dinner on the ground is a big thing in Tennessee. It's what you do during Revival Week.
Well, I guess that all remains to be seen. I did hear I have heard reputable people saying there are patterns that they see with viruses and the weather. But it didn't really sound clear that they knew for a fact what the explanation for the difference was.
And that we could apply that to, say, the food supply or medical treatments, but rather just the movement of the virus itself. So leaving food out in the sun is not, it's not something we recommend, and trying to bleach it, not necessarily recommended either.
Definitely not recommended. Don't eat bleach, man. Like, didn't we say in a previous episode, please, everyone, read the labels. Read the labels. I saw someone on the news explaining that she learned a valuable lesson about mixing ammonia and bleach. I don't know where she's been. This was a grown-ass woman. I don't know where she has been and how she didn't know that was a no-no. But she almost killed herself. And to top it off, she did it in an unventilated bathroom. Yeah. And then she was like sick for days and had to call poison control for help. Like, anyway, and she said her advice to everyone was just, please read the labels. You think, not to be mean, but goodness gracious, yes, it's a chemical. Just because it's sold and you don't need to provide ID, like, it's sold pretty casually. That doesn't mean it's not extremely dangerous when you ingest it, when you mix it with other chemicals with no window. Like, you know, these are mistakes you make when you first move out and you start cleaning your apartment. This isn't stuff for grown people to be doing. I don't understand what's happening.
Me neither. I have never, and I mean, granted, I don't put a whole lot of effort into making my own homemade stuff, and we've talked about that, and that's one of the reasons why. I just buy soap scrub for the bathroom, and I buy kitchen stuff for the kitchen. And I don't, if I'm going to try to save a dime or $1 here and there, I go to the website and sign up for the coupons. I don't try to follow what I see on Pinterest to make my own.
Right.
I've never been in a situation where I don't think I've ever bought ammonia on its own. I'm trying to think.
I think I might have gotten it for laundry or something.
I don't think
but so. You know, when you leave stuff a little too long in the dryer, in the washer in the South in the summer, and it just smells funky, even though it's only been like 20 minutes. So I think I've used it for that when I was rewashing. But yeah, everybody just be careful. You don't have to be perfect. I haven't imploded yet from eating a lot of takeout. And look, I've got a good amount of veggies going on there, even though you can't really see it.
No, I was thinking that. You do.
I do eat my vegetables. That much. I walk the walk.
Is this the special granola that we're looking
at? It is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on my last little bit. So that's what I feel like I need to be stocking up on. You know what's ridiculous? When he went out to stock up on meat, my first thought was, why didn't you ask me if I needed any beans? Because I keep thinking I don't have enough. Because I've been lazy. I haven't wanted to really cook them. So I still have a ton of dry beans.
Oh
I'm like, what if I run out? I think I might have like 20 cans left. So I think I need to chill out. I'm hoarding at this point. And the good thing is, if you are able to eat other things, it's okay if some things are gone and some things aren't on the shelf. You know, we'll adapt and we'll eat other things. I wish. No, it's special, as in I had ordered it and it took a long time it was on back order, and I was very concerned.
And I was very concerned because sometimes Dalia talks like a 27-year-old white woman in Brooklyn. And this was one of those times. She's like, I'm so mad. My granola's on back order. And I'm like,
I can't even say, did you see Broad City on Comedy Central while it was running?
I mean, yes, a couple episodes, yeah.
Okay. You may need to go back and watch it all again because they're amazing. But I just love the way Alana says white. I can't even copy it. But anyway, I wish that's how we need to start saying it. Maybe we'll practice. But
Let's do that.
Basically, at this point, there aren't any strong nutrition messages today because I think we're all at a point where the stress has reached, I don't know. It's not the max because I'm sure we can get even more stressed out.
Totally.
But it's been such a long time of sitting in this boiling hot water that people are starting to come unglued. So I've heard I mean, things are just, it's like the wheels have fallen off and, we're just trying to hang on. And perfection is not necessary. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to pretend like I'm doing, I'm demoing recipes right now. Like, get serious. There's no cooking going on over here. My husband did put together a new grill. QVC is going to be the death of me. Okay. So new shit keeps showing up. And that is
amazing. That is amazing.
So he's got the grill going on at least. So he's still doing some cooking. But he literally is still home. And the only time he leaves is when he hears the news and runs out to buy more meat. So, and he said today when he did the math, he has played golf 17 times since he's been home. So at least they do the distancing. Everybody's in their own cart. And the course itself has changed a lot of the rules. So that, not the rules, but like the way you get the ball or something. I don't know. I don't golf, obviously, but there's no longer a point where you would be touching something that somebody else touched. Like, they did make a lot of changes and they're doing it safely. And I see them sometimes when they're meeting up, they are so far away from each other, like yelling at each other. So I feel like he's following the rules when he's out there, but he's living a good life, but he's watching a lot of QVC, unfortunately.
Amazing. Well, I hope he buys you something fun and fancy that you can show.
That would be nice.
A little bit laser, like a panini press, because every Southern kitchen really needs to have. Show us how to use beans in a panini press. There you go. Challenge.
Oh, and I did learn. I will say this is a recipe I'm going to do this week.
Okay.
I saw a recipe for. It's not hummus, but it is like a chickpea sauce. A savory chickpea sauce that goes over pasta. And it sounds pretty basic, but everything that's in it sounds delicious. So I think I'm going to like it. So it's like roasted garlic and the chickpeas. Mm-hmm. It might have had some parsley in it. It just sounded, and it had basil in it. It sounded like it'd be really, really delicious.
Ooh.
And that goes over pasta. I'm like, I can do that. It's just, I boil something and then I put something in the blender. Can do.
I mean, but could you, if I were to send over a small child to cling to your leg and scream while you did it, it's like, if we were to turn this into like a different type of Iron Chef, I think it would be.
That would be really interesting.
Because it's not about like the ingredients. It's about the obstacle course that is the kitchen when you have a family.
Yeah. No, I probably wouldn't. I don't know. I wish you could have seen, because people would say to my mother when we were really small that she was being too hard on us. We had too many responsibilities. And then when we were older, they're like, they have too much freedom. But the whole thing is, from birth, she's like, you are an adult waiting to happen. It's time to get on that adult training, An
adult waiting to happen. That's how I'm going to refer to Kara, we need that on a t-shirt. Adult waiting to happen right here.
That's so you give the kids all the chores. And I don't know if you've ever heard a West Indian say, make yourself useful to a child, but I feel like that's the mantra of Jamaican people to their kids. Make yourself useful, make yourself useful. So I can't imagine if you're big enough and strong enough to cling to a leg in a house with a Jamaican parent, you're going to get a task. Like, there's work for you to do.
Oh my gosh.
There's no time for that being a baby. So
that we will have to see in a different live stream. Thanks as always, Dalia Kinsey, our Chief Nutrition Officer at the Fitness Protection Program and the School Nutrition Dietitian Podcast. So she's eating a lot of takeout these days, and so am I, because you know what? If this whole thing is gonna cut things off short, I'm gonna eat all the pizza. I'm gonna die with pizza in my belly. And sparkling.
That's good, and hopefully some $6 gluten-free baked goods.
Yes. If only I could carry them back home in the heat on my runs. Be better than Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe you should look into that. I could just imagine, like, at any given time on that cupcake day, you had like $100 in your stomach.
Oh my God. I definitely thought of it that way. Like, God, how much chocolate in my tummy. It's worth it. No, it'll be a while before we go back there again. But gosh, they were really good cupcakes for gluten-free vegan. Which, I mean, my expectations are in the toilet, not because vegan specifically, but that like for so long replacement foods just weren't good. Right now, they really, really are. People have gotten
great.
People like
that's great. Amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. For all that, I feel so bad for the kids that are diagnosed with multiple allergies and they've already started eating those foods and they like them. So that's great news.
Yeah.
That'll help me sleep better at night.
Something has to, because nothing else is for the rest of us right now. We'll see you next week in the quarantine kitchen, you guys.